Hi guys, so I'm going to show you something. So this is how my OBS looks right now. I'm just going to show you something you could do to make a lower thirds, or basically having your information down below. So I'm going to show you. So let me just unhide the lower global. So I'm going to show you how to make this. This is what I made to actually go under my videos, and it shows information about the stuff. And yeah, so shows my second channel, the website, email I use, and also the information you can contact me for tech support slash just to ask me questions. So, and it's named to my second channel. Um, so let me show you. First, you have to make a lower thirds. So, I'm just gonna show you the one I made. So first, you need to make a new entry scene. So the new scene, you're gonna be able to see it's gonna be black. But so this is the scene. So as you can see, it has this in here, which is a Oh, you can't see it. So this is what it looks like. But going back to the desktop, it has in the lower third is an image. I'll show you real quick. So let me just hide this real quick. I'll just do it on this open scene. So first you click on here, then you click on image. Okay. Then you then you name the image to something you want. I name mine lower thirds. Okay. And so once you name it lower thirds or whatever you want to call it, something you know what it is. I would basically make a new scene first. So basically right click over on scene and create a new scene. Call it, for example, lower global. So something with that you can recognize as a scene. And then you, in that scene, you basically create, you add the image. So what I did was create a image with alpha channel and added a make sure they're with alpha channel in the background where the middle you see saw in there. So for example, this is alpha channel I have. So if you look, it looks like this. As you can see, it is this. Then what I did was when I opened a new scene, I literally just when I create a new scene, I added this at the bottom like so. Then I just went back to here, went to images, and then once I went to images, I pressed that image. Then I went to browse. I browsed for this, which is line up. It's just white background since this is black. This would basically show where this part ends, which ends for this specific one right here. And over here, right here. After you have a lineup image, it's just a white image or whatever color that isn't the that isn't the back, this part right here. So if this part is white, then you want to put this as black, or if it's a different color, you want it a color that would contrast. And to make a background, I use paint to basically make the solid background image. Stretch it out to over here. And after you basically wind it up, then you basically go back to here. And you're doing this in the scene that you created. And then you go to add text. And for me, I'm just going to say this one. So this is it. And then, as you can see, you put it right up against here, and then you just stretch it out. That's not exactly because I don't have it lined up, and so it will look like this. And it looks like it's going right there. But to create a new one, you would just click on text, and then you click on here. Then you basically type in what you want it to actually say. And once you type that, for example, like TEST, and then you go here, shrink it down to, I would say 18 would be perfect font size for here, because you can just take this image right here. Well, I put that upside down by accident. Okay. But you get the point, so. So, and after you make the word you want, you, or whatever you want down there, inside the second scene, you go to the letters, go to filters, and then you select the plus button. And it's just like the plus button. After you click the plus button, go down and scroll, and then you just go select loop, and you can have it set to go up and down. So you can have one that just goes up and down, or side to side, which is horizontal speed. I set mine to 34 because that's a readable speed. 38 is too fast, 32 is too slow, 34 is perfect speed for actually this specific spot right here. And then you press close. And as you press close, it'll be like that, and it'll be in a scene. And then after that, so after you do that, after you make that into the scene, so I just remove this one, showing you. So after that, and after this, so you should have your scene set up how you want it. So I have this specific scene set up. You click here, the plus button, then you go down to where it says scene. In the scene, you click on add scene, lower global is mine, and after that, you press OK. And then it looks like this. And so when you click here, you can only move the actual whole page, because since this is what you call a nested scene, that nested scene for this specific one is right here. This is how it looks. So I'm just gonna remove this one and just renable this one. And you can basically put stuff like you want here. So also, just to tell you something else. So if you press start or settings, and then go to hotkey. Whatever your hotkey is set to start recording, you basically set the start recording key to whatever hotkey you want it to. So start, the start key to, for example, Control Shift F1, which is not used on the keyboard, and then you set Control Shift F1 there, and then on the scene you want to basically, and if you want to say have a commercial you want to play, so like a sponsor spot or basically just a ad of yours, like for example, Sweet Water Fresh and Me, I then just add a scene called 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 Sweet Water ad, and then put that in there. And when it says switch to scene, so when you start actually recording, so you press Control Shift F1, Control Alt Shift F1, and that'll basically start recording. And if you have Control Alt Shift F1 and switch to scene, it will switch to the sponsor stream or whatever ad you have running as a video. And then from actually there, you just make the ad a little bit longer where there's like black in the end, and then you can make it so there is a spot where like you can just hear where it will be left off at. And then after that, after it finished playing, you can hit another hotkey, for example, Control Alt Shift F2, which would basically switch my scene to desktop 1 or just the desktop scene. And I can basically switch to that. And when the video ends, I could basically press Control Alt Shift F3, which would be, it would switch to the ending scene, so like the credits, and then after it finish playing the actual credits, you can have it basically, you can hit the Control Alt Shift F4, which would end the video or end the recording. So one to start here, then to the next scene, then to the next scene. Or you can do all this with the Stream Deck if you have hotkey set up on Stream Deck. You literally can just do most of this stuff with the actual so basically you can basically do this on Stream Deck by basically taking the Stream Deck and having one key to basically press one key. It will start the recording, and then it'll play the scene, and then after the scene plays, it will switch to the desktop scene with a delay. You can basically just figure out how long the actual video is that you're playing as the sponsor or like intro, and then you put so what you would do is, I'll show you. So let me see. Okay, yeah, so let me just delete this right quick and I'll show you real quick. So first you would go to so you would do a multi-action like this. Then you would go to basically so you could do record. That's Streamlabs, so wrong one, but it's pretty much the same thing. So you would go to record, and then you would basically go down to where it says delay, make a delay, give it you would give it 300 milliseconds, which is less than 3 seconds. So 3,000 milliseconds would be 3 seconds. This would be 3 milliseconds. And then after that, you basically, and once you press, so when you press record on the actual multi-action, and it will do a delay, because when you press multi-action, it will press record. It'll do a 3 millisecond delay. Then after that, you go to scene, and keep doing this one. Keep clicking Streamlabs. So you click on here, which will be you go to scene. In that scene, you basically select the intro, which is what you want to actually play, and then so you just figure out, and if you recorded the video, you should know how long the video is. So you should basically let it play. So basically, when you press the multi-action, it'll record, then it'll do the delay, and it'll do the switch scene, which is intro. Then you'll do another delay, let's just say let's just say the intro is around 30 seconds long. So that's 300 milliseconds. I mean 30,000 milliseconds, which is 30 seconds. So 30,000. That's just an example. And then after that, you go to here where it says scene. Then you drop the scene here, and then you select what scene you want it to do. You will then select desktop, okay? Or whatever your scene is that you want to basically end on after the intro video or the sponsor video or whatever. And then after that, after you finish recording, you basically do the reverse, okay? So after that, you basically are done with this, and then you just you don't get rid of this one, I'm just showing you. So after that, after the recording is done, you basically will press the button. You will basically go to where it says source. So basically, you'll do a multi-action again. Select your select your wrap-up video, select your wrap-up sponsor video, whatever, and then you put a delay. And then after the delay, after the sponsor spot video, you'll do a delay of 300 milliseconds or however long it is. And then after that, the delay, you put record again, and the record will stop the record. So when you press this button, when you press the first button, it'll play your intro and everything. And then after that, once you are finished recording, press the second one and it'll stop it. And or you can actually automate this, where basically if you are making a 10-minute video, you just figure out how many videos it is, how actually long the video is going to be, and then you put the time that it will take to make the video in milliseconds. So in milliseconds, so if it's a 10-minute video, you take 10 minutes and put it into milliseconds, and then when the 10 minutes runs out, it would switch to the ending scene, and then it'll switch to the delay, and then it'll stop recording. So that's what you can do there using one button. So just in case you're trying to make a 10-minute video, you have one set for 10 minutes. If you have one for like 5 minutes, you have one set for 5 minutes. If you have one for like an hour, you set one for an hour, and then you can actually end it sooner by actually stopping it manually and just running the actual ad at the end. But I recommend trying to figure out which way you actually want it specifically, how you want it to actually record. But that's how you use multi-action with the Stream Deck. And or if you have keyboard, you can basically do most of this things with like a Corgano control or anything that is already on your desk. I recommend the Stream Deck if you want to do multi-actions. I don't know how to do multi-actions with like a plain keyboard, but I might not do it with a Corgano control, which I use on my main recording setup. This is not the main one, and I decided to do this as a video. And so you can name these the Stream Deck delay as like wait time or whatever, the scene to something else, and then it'll play, and you can organize these like this, and yeah, that's all you need to record the Stream Deck. To record. That's all you need. That's all you need to record with a set time in mind. So yeah, I literally was thinking about doing that for some hotkeys, but I just really just don't have an extra Stream Deck at the moment to use it with. So I have I'm using 3 Stream Decks. One is a Stream Deck XL in my room, and then a Stream Deck for opening other applications and stuff. So yeah. But if you just have a regular Stream Deck, or if you want to just use hotkeys, you can just use hotkeys and switch scenes manually, or you can just use or you can also use auto hotkey to actually do the actual command. So you can basically so what you can do is use auto hotkey to. This is another way of doing it, is using auto hotkey, creating a script that will say when I press this button. So when I press, for example, F22, which is not on every keyboard, it's only on the Model M, not important. But let's just say I press F22. It would, instead of it muting, when I press F22, it will start recording, because the auto hotkey command would actually run, will start recording, and then when it starts recording, another command in auto hotkey would actually say, since it's recording and it waits this many seconds, then you can literally just have it basically switch to the actual main scene automatically, and you can just run this as a program, or with the like auto hotkey. You could just make it into a script, and then you run it at startup, and then when you press the button on the keyboard, so for example like Control Alt Shift F1, it would basically run the hotkey command, the auto hotkey command, and then it'll basically switch automatically for you. But that's more complicated than actual that's more complicated setup than to just use a Stream Deck. But for specific like keyboards or other things that isn't a Corgano control, for example, like if you use Launchpad, you can't. I don't know how to set that up because you need a third-party like control software for that. For the Corgano control, I'm using another software for that. But you can use hotkey. You actually could use OBS MIDI if you wanted to. That's one way. But if you don't If you're just using like a launchpad or a MIDI controller, I wouldn't know how to set that up. I'm just using a control surface. Control surfaces are easier because they actually have a software specifically for using a control surface as a control, as basically a recording device. You can use OBS MIDI, or you can use MIDI mixer. But if you're using a Korg Nano Control 2, you can't have two MIDI devices plugged in because they'll get confused, and then you just have to like fix it and reg it. If you're using a Korg Nano Control times 2, I recommend just getting a Korg Nano a Korg Studio 2, which has more keys than the Korg Nano Control 2, and is slightly bigger, about as big as a drawing tablet. What I showed you right here, it's about 24 inches, and then yeah. So that's all you need to know when actually setting this up, and how to control your streams with the OBS and also with hotkeys.